about challenging yourself. Good morning, everybody. We wanted to, I want to talk about three different stories of people who are moving the needle for themselves. And kind of want to talk about what happens to your brain, your body, how things respond when you are intentionally doing things for your health, for your for your whole human. And challenging yourself, even if it's learning a new skill that has nothing to do with physicality, still really improves your human. And there's lots of great research, especially in the psychology literature, about how that changes our mindset. Of course, there's tons of literature in the endocrinology lit that says we change our entire milieu when we do challenging things and achieve those small victories along the way. So, with that in mind, I wanted to tell a story about one person who will absolutely not be checking in live today, and that's okay because I know he is here, killing it. It's our buddy Jeff. He's in here challenging himself. This is a person who has had physical challenges his whole life and has just persevered. Not just survived now, but over the last couple of years of knowing us, he's managed thriving, getting big and strong, and just really trying to touch the edges of his ability every day. And that's one of those things. It's like it's setting him up for achieving when when he's hitting a barrier in his whatever real life is. He's doing the hard stuff. He's used to the discomfort. It is so good for your brain and your body to feel that and know, all right, I can come up against the wall, be pushed back a little bit, and then still kind of drive forward. So Jeff right now is working on his human. He's getting strong in here. You'll see this later. And I want to tell him thank you for being here and being so awesome. I will tell a brief story about myself. Again, I have not said a lot about me, but if you're familiar with what we do here or any of our story, you know that I like to challenge myself as well. I'm currently learning quite a bit about putting a truck back together. Took on a project to commemorate my mom and her passing this summer. And I've never picked up a wrench before. I've never done that kind of work. But I said, this is something that my mom can go through something like that and come out the other end feeling strong and looking good, and leaving on her terms. Then I can challenge myself to do something stupid, silly. I can do this. And so I'm putting a lot of my mom in her memory. But just to talk about, coming up against barriers, okay, now I don't know a thing. What do I do here? I'm going to seek an expert. I'm going to help that person set my plan for me, and then I will try and execute the plan. So I'm a total novice in this thing, just as people are when they come in here, when they're hurt and they're scared. What do I do? Well, they are in their information-seeking process when they come to us, and then we put the plan together, and then they execute. So right now, it's the same thing for me. I'm going, all right, what's the next thing? What's the next small step? Even as I started this project, I figured, man, I said, this truck doesn't run. It doesn't look great. There's a lot going on with it. I have no idea what to do. I just said, well, what's the first thing? And I think it's what we all have to do is say, like, well, what's the first step? Where is that? And is there anyone who's taken this step before, or anyone who's got some knowledge on how to do this thing, so that we can produce more of these challenges? We can say, well, what can I try? And so Jeff's working on his human, his body, his strength, his power, his mobility in there. I'm trying to work on some of my mental plasticity, trying to learn a new skill. And I actually have one other story about someone who's very close to me, Dr. Bob Grossman up in Maryland, who is one of my mentors. And he is, retired from physical therapy now, probably one of the most talented, smart physical therapists I've ever met in my life. I owe a lot to him and what we have done and how we treat students here at Spark Physiotherapy. And so he is challenging himself because since I know him, he has been putting out a lot of literature and doing a lot of work in the seminar spaces to try to get physical therapists to understand more of the hands-on, what we call closed chain manipulation techniques. But if you come to Spark Physiotherapy, when you receive these kinds of techniques and they're described as differently from what is typically offered at a physical therapy mill, I have a range of motion problem here, and I can't bend the elbow. I might just be bending the elbow in a clinic like that. But in another way, I could hold this arm here and push the shoulder forward. It's the same thing as bending the elbow, but I don't brace. That's a very, very small demonstration of how close chain manipulation works. But this is a technique that that Bob Grossman has put together and over many years has tried to get it out into the world so more PTs can use this powerful technique. Well, he is challenging himself by reframing all of it. He's, instead of writing a book, we're trying to do some video series. If you instead of a video series may turn into a group seminar series. And so these are things that, when he has along his path tried to get this information out and met these barriers, like, well, what else is there? And we're not experts at this, but we have a lot of experience now on different channels, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all these things. And so he said, well, I see what you're doing. What is the first step for me? And I said, all right, well, how about this? Let's do a seminar here. Let's see what this looks like. And so he came and he delivered it. I said, this is perfect. So over the last few months, we've been working together to try to put some information like in an outline. And so I'm just watching this person who's so developed as a professional and so well respected go right back to the drawing board, challenge himself to do something very difficult, arduous, and he's crushing it. I mean, every day I get more emails about, okay, I worked on this and I worked on this and these parts are done now. And so just seeing the people around me challenge themselves and stack these little wins along the way. And then, when you have a loss, when you take that hit, kind of figuring out how long it takes to shake your head, knock the dust off and go, okay, well, what went wrong there, and try to go back around that. So challenge yourself every day, intentionally try to do something better than you did the day before, the year before. Even if it's something small, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It could literally be the amount of time it took you to change your oil, the amount of rest it took you between sets where you could survive the whole workout. Small challenges. Stack these wins, help everybody around you stack wins. Everyone moves the needle forward. We're always trying to do better than the day before, beat our previous self. I sound like a freaking psychologist. That's terrible. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this show. And holler if you have questions. Jeff, good work. Bob Grossman, you're kicking ass. And I'm going to go work on a truck. Cheers.